Randy LeBaron from Albion, New York. He's sharing the gospel message, one cup of coffee at a time.
Good morning. It's good to be back. Welcome to this episode of Refill with Randy. Grab your favorite cup, fill it up. Let's start this day right together. Well, it wouldn't be October without Snoopy, right? I love this time of year. The weather, it's cooler. The leaves are changing. Beautiful colors everywhere. And thinking about those seasons of change, God has kind of placed me into a season of ministry that I would call transient ministry. Now, I don't mean ministering to transients, but that God has maybe called me to be in a church or a family or a person's life for a short period of time with a specific purpose. And we're going to talk more about that here in just a few minutes. But first, since this is the first refill with Randy in a while, I just wanted to give you a little bit of an update. Things are going great here with the LeBaron clan. My wife Cheryl, we celebrated our 23rd anniversary this last summer. She's back teaching third grade at Albion Elementary. My oldest daughter Ashlyn, she's a junior at Roberts Wesleyan, and she's beginning all of her clinicals, working toward becoming a nurse. My son Brendan, he graduated from Albion, and he is now playing football for SUNY Brockport. He went from being a Purple Eagle to a Golden Eagle, and he's doing well there. My younger two daughters, Madison and Jillian, they are in 10th and 8th grade respectively, both volleyball players. We're glad to be able to go and watch that. That's something that's right up my alley. I always played volleyball in school, and so we have fun with that. They're also very good with Bible quizzing. They actually went, and Cheryl was one of the drivers and chaperones this last summer down to Kentucky, and they competed in the national Bible quiz meet. And just this last week, they competed here locally as well. And so just very proud of them all. Thankful for the family God has given me. Thankful for my friends. Thankful for you and all who tune in. I was kind of taken aback when I was looking at some analytics and realized that these videos have been watched in about 42 different countries, which is just kind of mind-blowing since I'm here in little old Albion, New York. But that's how God works. That's the premise of my ministry, Go Scatter Ministries. It's about planting seeds. And so if this is your first time, or if this is the 78th time that you've been watching Refill with Randy, it's good to have you here. Now, as far as ministry, I have continued on with my roles with volunteering for Hands for Hope. I've been doing counseling for CareNet of Greater Orleans. I continue on as a sheriff's chaplain here in Orleans County. In January, I took on the role of spiritual care and bereavement coordinator at Supportive Care Orleans Hospice. And that brings me to the topic of today, transient ministry. And when I think about, 3.5 years ago when I took that step of faith out of the pulpit and say, God, whatever you want me to do, wherever you want me to do it. I've just had some amazing experiences both here in my own backyard as well as many other places. I've preached at several different churches, denominations, served in many different organizations. It's been a really neat ride, for lack of a better term. But this past year, something unique has kind of happened. In fact, it began even about a year ago when I was doing a stint as interim pastor at Free Church out in Rochester. But this past year, 3 different Baptist congregations, North Point Chapel, and then for a set time over to Medina First Baptist, and now as an official interim pastor at the First Baptist Church in Albion, God has called me to stay in one place for, maybe 2 months, and just trying to pour into those congregations as they prepare for a permanent pastor. This isn't what I maybe imagined how things were going to go with my traveling around, but it has been really good because I really connect with the people when I'm there. I continue to pray for the people and the churches to this day. I'm so grateful when I look back and I see the pastors that are there now, especially like at Free Church, and just how they thrive, and the same thing for North Point Chapel. And now I'm really excited to be a part of things here in Albion for a bit. And when I started thinking about that, how I kind of come in and I spend a couple months and then kind of move along somewhere else, I realized that in my role with Supportive Care Orleans Hospice, it's very similar, because I will go in and I will be with a person during that last season of their life. And whether it's, praying with them, visiting them, giving them communion, helping them to grieve their own diagnosis, being there with their family, and helping with their grief, not only as they anticipate the loss of a loved one, but afterward as well, for those 13 months when they have to go through all of those firsts that we talk about. And I realized the same thing, that sometimes, God gives me months with someone. Other times it's just days. And yet, God has given me, I don't know if it's the gift or simply the capacity to empathize with both the patients and the caregivers, to hopefully impact them in a meaningful way, and to help them along in their grief journey, and help them along in their spiritual walk. I've seen people come to the Lord in their last hours even. I have seen families that kind of, they had their guard up and then they dropped it when they knew that there was someone there who wanted to help and who had been there also. And so I'm just thankful for the ways that God works. I'm thankful for different seasons of ministry. And I don't know how long this season is going to last, but I will put forth all my effort into it as long as I'm in it. And I hope that you would do the same. What season of life and ministry are you in right now? Now, you don't have to be a professional pastor. You don't have to be an evangelist. You don't have to, be even a leader in a church for you to have an impactful ministry. We have many people at hospice that they're volunteers, and, they're just so helpful. And they sometimes just go and sit with people. And the ministry of presence is a fantastic thing. We have volunteers at CareNet that help in so many ways. Hands for Hope, it's all volunteer. Week in, week out, Jack, Kevin, and the gang, they're driving Clifford, what we lovingly call our truck, and this is actually number 2, around to the different neighborhoods to offer food and clothes and hope in Christ. What are some ways that God is calling you to serve in your community? What are some ways that He has called you to speak into a person's life or simply to live for Him? I would love to hear back from you. I know that it's very easy just to have a video be a one-way message, but I really hope that you will respond in the comments, that you would send me any questions, comments, thoughts. My email is here. You can always DM me as well. But just think about, what is God doing in your life? And have you seen things change? You know, maybe at one point you were called to this type of ministry, but as time progresses, maybe He's calling you to something a little different. And that can be scary and it can be uncomfortable. But if you go where God leads, it can also be satisfying and fulfilling in a way that you cannot imagine. That's my hope for each one of you today, and I covet your prayer as God allows me into the lives of His people for such a time as this. God bless. Have a great day.
Thank you.